I learned one of my first and most powerful lessons about luck standing behind a bar. I had a regular named Danny who sold suits at a store in the mall. He came in often when I was bartending, and his wife would join him maybe once or twice a week after work. Now, Danny always wore a suit, and he had this long hair he kept in a ponytail, and his wife looked like she stepped out of a 1980s glamour shot. After some conversation, I learned she was a mortgage broker, and eventually the conversation turned to the idea of me buying a house. Now, I was barely 21 at the time. I hadn't even considered that was an option. My mom had never owned a home. My dad didn't actually buy his first house until after he got remarried to my stepmom after my 16th birthday. So no one had ever sat me down and walked me through how any of it actually worked. The door to that world wasn't locked as much as it was just invisible to me. Now, this mortgage broker, she didn't tell me what to do, but through our conversations about what she was working on, I got curious and started asking questions. For weeks of back and forth, I formulated what I considered a brilliant plan to save up my tips and turn my roommates into friends with benefits. You know, the kind who pay your mortgage with their rent checks. That's how at 21, I bought my first house and paid less to live there than I'd been paying to share an apartment with 3 friends. Now, I would love to tell you that that was the first of many brilliant financial moves. It was not. Shortly after, I found myself in a hot tub showroom signing papers to fully finance a $3,000 hot tub at what I can only describe as predatory interest rates. I used that hot tub maybe 3 times because I was working constantly, I didn't maintain it, and then one day one of my roommates climbed out of this thing with a rash all over his body. I never went in that thing again. Eventually, I had it hauled away, and I ended up paying more for that hot tub than I actually put as a down payment on the house. I got lucky. A mortgage broker happened to be married to a guy who was good at selling suits and loved happy hour. And I happened to have fallen into a job that put me in front of hundreds of people every day during happy hour, of which Danny and his wife were 2 of them. Without that happenstance meeting, I actually think my life goes very differently. Because that moment of buying a house at 21 was transformational for me. It gave me this confidence that I could do entrepreneurial things and succeed. A handful of years later, I'd get lucky again. After a run-in with the assistant general manager at the restaurant where I was working, I quit. I didn't have a plan. I just knew I didn't want to be there anymore. And I spent the next few months in a fog trying to figure out what was I going to do with my life. Once again, it was the job. Working in restaurants had put me in front of thousands of people over the years, and it was another happenstance connection, this one to some local business owners, that finally helped me see something I had never considered, that I could actually be a business owner myself. In 1978, a neurologist named Dr. James Austin wrote this great book called Chase, Chance, and Creativity. And in it, he describes 4 types of luck. The first is blind luck, where you're born, who your parents are, the stuff the universe just hands you with no effort on your part. Now, most people, when they think about luck, are thinking about this kind of luck. But Austin said there are actually 3 other types of luck. And the one that changed how I think about my own story is what he called luck from motion. This is when you start moving, putting yourself in new rooms and new conversations where different collisions can happen, and where some of those collisions can change everything. There's also luck from awareness, this idea that the more you learn about and focus on something, the more you start to notice things that were always there but invisible to you before. I wasn't particularly wise at 21, in case you didn't catch the story about the hot tub purchase. I wasn't strategic either. I wasn't building a plan of how I was going to meet this mortgage broker and learn. I just had a job that made me talk to a lot of people. Meeting that mortgage broker was the luck of motion. But once I met her and learned a little bit about how it all worked, then I tapped into this luck of awareness. I started to see how I could save up a little money in tips after every shift, how I could convince my roommates to join me, and how I could ultimately make it work to buy a house. Most people who feel stuck are playing with one type of luck. They're waiting for something to find them. But the moment you start genuinely exploring business ownership, you're increasing the surface area for luck to find you. It could be the luck of meeting the right person that unlocks some new insight or opportunity. Or it could be the luck of awareness, where armed with more knowledge and focus, you start to notice the resources and opportunities that are already there around you. Nobody gets lucky sitting on their couch in their living room watching Netflix by themselves. If you want to get lucky, you can dramatically increase your chances by getting out, by putting yourself in motion, looking for how you build the life you really want. And then your chances can go up again when that increased focus and awareness on what you could build helps you start to see the invisible opportunities all around you. Don't quit your daydream. Till next week. Cheers, y'all.